Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to the Infinite Rock Builder tutorials. I'm going to show you how to get on with the Rock Builder and get the best out of it, how to set it up and everything, which doesn't take long, and what all this over is about. So yeah, when you download the file, you will get this view, and I just split it up like this because it's easier. I always like to have a second view, which is normally the top view, and if we turn viewport render shading on and I'm going to, it's already on 6, okay, so it already comes with a subdiv. If you put adaptive on, you get way more detail, obviously, but for this, for speed of updates, 6 will do. So the rock builder is really easy to set up because you don't actually have to do anything. If you merely add a plane in this example and then rotate it on the x-axis by 90, and yeah, you can. What I normally do is I subdivide 3 times. So right click, subdivide, right click, subdivide, right click, subdivide, and then you don't need to do that, but it just means that the rounding only happens there, and I don't want to have to control R to loop cut all over the place. So we've put the subdivision surface on, and then put the rock builder on, and that's it. You're done. Job done. One very important note. This is based on the object shape itself. It's not UV based or anything like that. It's just, it goes by the shape of the object. And if you now apply all the transforms, say you scaled this up a bit, yep, like that, and what you don't want to do is Control A and all transforms, because for tangent formations it will mess it up. So if you do want to apply anything, don't apply rotation, just apply the scale if you so wish. As I say, if you apply the transforms for the rotation, it will mess up the tangent, so don't do it. Just if you're going to apply anything, apply scales, but realistically there's not much need to apply formations, transformations at any point, because as you saw then, you just, open a plane or whatever, brush the material on, we're done. And we can see now we've got a bit more detail because I already put 3 levels of subdivisions. Okay, so let's look at the differences. Tangent formations next to object formations, and as it says here, displacement follows the normal direction, and displacement points in the same axis. And what that means is, if we take this plane, and if we were going to round it off, which I would always do anyway, so we don't have harsh edges, press 7 to go into top view, and I'm just pressing E and extruding about, specifically like that, and then we need to kind of as closely match this as we can, so Control R and then just roll your mouse wheel just to put in those extra subdivisions. That's probably about right. And with tangent formations, that is all you need to do to get your corner, because tangent follows the direction of the normal. So as you can see, it's pointing out forwards, and then it starts to change the direction. So it's, that's the way if you want to make a 3D shape, anything that's going to use more than 2 axes, or even 1 axis, I would do that, use a tangent. And then if we, using this slider here, tangent object mix, if we go over to object, what I was mentioning will be more clear when I say that it points the same way, because that's pointing in the normal direction. The object from the front, it's fine, but as you start to go around the side, because it's now a 3D object, like it says, displacement points on the same axis, so all of it is going to point this way. It's all going to go that way. As you can see from above, the axis doesn't change. It's always going to point here, everything here. So there would be a lot of detail, but it's just completely stretched along and flattened along that bit. So object formations is great for a backdrop. You can get away with a bit of rounding off, you have to, but doing drastic things like that with object formations is not going to work. So that's why tangent formations is there. I need to type that rather than drag, because the tangent follows the direction of the normal, like that. So you could go around in a circle if you want, and it's just going to, like a roundabout. Okay, so that's how that works. And then the mid-level and scale, it's all here, so how much displacement you want. It's on 0.5 at the moment. That does the job. So let's look at the formation. Some of them have extra color control. I think that one has a shape. Yep. So there's little bits and bobs dotted about, but we'll start with number 1. And I mean, there's no point me going through every single control of every single formation. That's pointless. You can just do that in your own time. But I'll give you an idea of why things are here. So there you go. Overall scale 0.2 at the moment. Let's put 0.5 just to change something. And it's going to update a little bit slow because this is on 6 and it doesn't need to be, because I subdivided 3 times, so it should go down to 4. So we have changed the scale. Strength, that's obvious, 5. There we go, but that's too much. Down to 2. Left right orientation. So because vector displacement can displace in the full spectrum, it uses color, so it can, you know, displace anywhere you tell it to. So if you wanted, you can angle the faces to the right, and maybe not like that. Maybe I should put a number in. Or you can do the same thing, go down or up. I don't know which way that's gone. Looks like it's gone up. It's because I put 1. -1 will take it down. You see? You see that? It just drooped a little bit. So that's what that's for. You can mess around with the orientation of the rocks. Formation rotation. It's just basically just if you want to, well, it's rotation, Nick. So yeah, you go. So it's just shifted it a bit. You know, it's a totally different formation now just by rotating it 45 degrees, different type of cliff. Bush. X scale. So this is if you wanted to create something like that. You've got an individual control of the scale of all of them, sorry, X and Y. So you can just stretch it up, stretch it across, and then that will again give you very different formations. If we took that up to 0.2, oh, excuse me, my alarm. Go away. Go on, up it. So there, yeah. And I've stretched it on the Y axis, but we'll leave it at 1, 1. And the filters, each one of them has got more than one filter, and it's just a case of playing around. Obviously this one is blatantly based on the Voronoi. Well, all of them have got a bit of Voronoi in there somewhere. But just messing around with these gives you a bit of extra control. And as I say, they've all pretty much got more than one filter. And just by, you know, moving these sliders, I mean, you wouldn't want a cliff that looks like that, but you get it, you know. You can change it completely just by mucking around like this. Adding a bit more roughness or no roughness. One's my favourite. I don't know why, but I like formation 1. Yeah. Okay, so then if you want, have a look at formation 2, which is clearly very different. And some of them, like when this happens, that just means there's likely far too much displacement. So if I'll have to take the displacement down on here to 0.2. That's a bit better. So yeah, that's formation 2. Now, the good thing about it is you can mix them. So if you want to see a bit of 1 and a bit of 2, let's put 0.5 of 2. Maybe less, 0.3 of 2. So now I've got these cracky bits from formation 2, and I've also got the bigger shapes of formation 1. So you can see how you've got a lot of possibilities for making rocks and cliffs. Let's continue. So formation 3 looks like that, and this one's set up with a color, so it will edit certain parts. So you see it's only doing these bits, not these bits. That's what these bits are done with. So overall scale, if we take it up to 2, excuse me, too far, 1. See what I mean? So you've got different patches, different coloured rocks for that one. That also has formation 1, formation 2. It's got a couple of filters. Formation 1, 2 mix. Some of them are just specific to, once I made them, I thought, oh, this would be useful, being able to do formation 1 or formation 2. Yeah, and you can mix in between the two. You've got your strength, random shape. Every one of them has got its own random shape, because if you're copying a cliff, you're going to want to have a different shape so that they don't look the same. 2 formations. Done. That's 3. I'll just run through them, and then if I do see anything specific. So this is 4. I like 4 actually. I usually mix in this one because it has cracks. Let's put the strength up to 1. Not that far, dude. That's crazy, y'all. Let's put 0.5. See what that does. That's nice. I like that. And overall scale, let's go 0.5. So yeah, this one's got these cracky bits. If you put adaptive on, that might look even cooler, or it will crash my system. That works. Sometimes it's too much, but that's why you have filter 1. This one, there's 3 different filters, so play around with those and change that. And as I say, I tend to mix a bit of that one in, just because I don't want all of those cracks, but I want a bit of them, and that's still too much. So I'm going to drop it down a little bit more. Okay, maybe even more than that. But now I'm mixing 4, 2 and 1, and then you've still got the individual strength and thing controls over here. So if I wanted to see a bit more of 1, I'll just up the strength, and then I've got these bits back, but I'm still retaining all these weird cracky stuff. Alright, that's number 4. Let's move on to number 5. Mix it in. I've still got adaptive on. Let's turn that off. And something isn't right here. That is likely... Hang on, the scale is low. Let me just make that... Oh. Hello, it's back. It's because the scale was way too low. That's formation 5. And that's got 1, 2... Oh, faces, left, right orientation. Okay. And up, down. Okay. And face 1 strength. So there's different varying strengths for various areas. Again, there's no point me going through every single control. I'm just going through what they look like, I suppose. That's formation 6. That has 2 filters. A couple of strengths. One will be for 1 bit. The other one will be for the other bit. Like these. Let's move on. Formation 7. And this one also has the green, by the way, is because I've got the moss. In fact, let me turn the moss filter off for the rest, because I don't want that to be confusing. Wait, wrong one. Control Z. I've lost moss. There she blows. Alright, bye bye moss. So now we can see the 2 colours of formation 7, which is only in 1 ramp, but change those colours. More controls. That's formation 7. Formation 8. It's cool. And this is the shape control for this one. I felt like this one could do with it. I just felt it would be very useful when the strength isn't so crazy. 0.3. To have a bit of extra control of the shape of this one. You can do all kind of stuff with it. I mean, you can, yeah, mess with the shape, you know, have fun, play around. That's formation 8. Formation 9 looks like that. Got these faces, orientations again that you can only do with vector displacement. Formation 10. Strength. For this one, I'm going to do, because the strength is so low there, it's likely that I need a bit more up here. 0.6. 1. Alright, that's a weird, bitty, wavy cliff. that again has its own options, not as many as the others, but 2 filters, bunch of strengths, and a random shape. Okay, so that's the vector. We'll come back to Cliff Top Flatten. And now if we go over to object, excuse me, and we just ignore what it's doing around there, because you wouldn't make it go around the side. And I'm going to lower the strength of the object formations a little to 0.3. Yeah, that will do nicely. So other than the fact that this one, the object formations are best used 0.2 on a flat shape that's not going to be bending around corners. It's okay, this one does bend around the corner, so this is perfectly acceptable, but it's just you wouldn't want to look at it from that side. Well, that could work. Yeah, hey, whatever you want to do, you do. It's not up to me, it's up to you. So, let's go through them, I suppose. Oh yeah, it's default. Both of these are default to 1. So when you switch to tangent, it's number 1. When you switch to object, it's number 1 default. Excuse me. So that's what number 1 looks like. Same old again. Face up, down. Let's speed them up a bit. You know, and you've got a couple of face orientations there. That's number 1. Number 2. I'm just seeing if there's any specific differences, and they're all pretty much the same, I believe. This one has its oh, the colour, by the way, I should have said this, that's awful. The colour for these is, hang on, let me just get this right. So number 3, yes, I think what I've done is I've never actually recorded and had them all up at the same time. I think what I've done is it might be overriding the colour with one of these. Yep, it was number 7. So there you go. So if you're not using tangent formations, I would never have all of them unless I'm specifically mixing, in which case I wouldn't be going over to object formations because I'd have made it over here. But clearly these colours will affect the colours on the object side if they are mixed in. The colours for this guy are here. Colour filter 1, colour filter 2. They're not mixes in or anything. These are just the colours of the object formations, as you can see. And the colour filter 1 is this bitty white. We can make that a bit more contrasty. There we are. Excuse me, I have a terrible throat most of the time. Okay, so where were we? So we're on 1, and this will be number 2. Or have I already mixed? No, we've already done 2. In fact, we've done 3 as well. So let's go to number 4. Best practice, turn them off when you're done with them. That's number 4. Anything specific? Orientation, a couple of filters, or 3 filters. Number 5 is that one. Is that one? And 7 is that one. And 8 is this one. I mean, you could probably skip this, but number 9, number 10. And you can, if you so wish, mix 20 formations together. It would probably be quite system heavy, and your updating would likely take a lot longer. But you can also mix object and tangent. So if I go to 0.5, I've now got half. In fact, we can take it lower than that. Let's go 0.2. So now I've got a bit of the object and a bit of the tangent. So you can mix them that way as well if you want. 0.5, that's better. So now I can see this. I've got a bit of, yeah. You can mix them that way as well. So you can see its enormous potential for how many different rock formations you can make up with all these controls. And just to finish, Cliff Top Flatten may be best shown probably on number 1 on the tangent. I've mixed in, what is that, number 10 or something? Yep. Get out of it. Get out of it. I don't want you anymore. Okay, it's because of that. Let's drop that to back down to 0.2. Okay. Alright. And that is, again, all the colours. The colours when they're not next to the node group itself are these two filters here. That's for both object and tangent. So Cliff Top Flatten does exactly what it says in the tin. Flattens the top of the cliff. And for tangent formations, this is because, as I say, tangent formations use colour, not black and white, which is why you can have things like, you know, orient the faces up, down, left, right, only because it's using colour. So if you wanted this to creep down the wall more, you just do that, you know. And the reason being that if I was to, you know, round off the top here by extruding and going back a bit, then the top would be flat, and then I can add grass. Because if it's not active, in fact, shall we do it, Nick? Shall we do it? So I'm just gonna extrude up here any old way, bit like that, bit like that. That'll do. So with Cliff Top Flatten enabled, you can see without it, that's it. You can't put grass up there. You might want that, you know. I'm not saying because that does exist in the world. Rocks that point up. I just mean if you did want to add things like houses or buildings and you've rounded it off to a level surface, using that you can flatten it. And for the object formations, it's just black and white. And it's the same process. You want it further down the wall, drag that. You want more detail closer to the top of the wall, drag that. It just heightens the displacement here. So that there is Cliff Top Flatten, and that is the formations done. Yeah, so that was part 1. We'll go on to part 2 next, and we'll look at all this stuff and your custom colouring and whatnots. Alright, so until then, yeah, I'll see you then. Bye bye.